about the bioethics. The third one is about environmental ethics, and the fourth unit is about media ethics, right? So let me begin with the basic understanding of international ethics, because in my two previous classes I have already discussed enough about what is ethics. But basically, this block 3 is meant for applied ethics. So I have already told you that ethics has three clear branches. One is about ethics, which you can say about which you can say about classical or traditional ethics. And the second one is the development of that traditional ethics, which is named as meta ethics, where we see only the analysis, linguistic analysis of the ethical terms that are used in the traditional or the classical ethics. And nowadays, we discuss more about applied ethics. Here, exactly what we are doing, we are applying the ethical principles to our real life situations only to address the ethical issues that we face in our everyday transactions, be it nature, that's why we are talking about environmental ethics, be it media, we are talking about media ethics, be it medical science or biological science, you can say, we also talk about bioethics or biomedical ethics. With I will confine my discussion to only these three. So it is a little bit, you can say, it is more related to applied ethics. Particularly, this unit or this block is related to applied ethics, that you can say. So, when we talk about international ethics, which is the unit 1 of block 3, that international ethics, it refers to the interactions, exchanges, relations among nations to bring our planet Earth and all life forms into only one platform. I'm repeating it because it is the beginning. So, international ethics, it refers to it encourages interactions among the different countries or different nations. Even exchange, it also initiates exchange programs among nations, because the only purpose is that to bring the entire planet Earth and all life forms only to one platform only. So, international ethics also offers insights into how one nation will treat other nations and its people. How we treat, because this they are only we need the ethical intervention. How we deal with others, how we treat others. So, international ethics offers insights into how one nation will treat other nations and its people. It also provides insights to assess the good and harms, the right and the wrongs, which can occur in the international sphere or international space. For example, you can say United Nations encourages some friendly, peaceful activities by all the members of the community for peaceful coexistence. So there is United Nations. It has many branches, and all the branches that is looking for how we can peacefully coexist, all the nations, how they can peacefully coexist with each other. So international ethics is not an ethics of some powerful countries or nations, rather their obligation to help the poor nations for their development. Okay, so it is not only the task of the international ethics to be only a superpower country or to be a powerful nation. Rather, that superpower nation has its duty and obligation to help the poor nations for their upliftment or for their development. So, international ethics you can define in this way, that which enables one to participate actively in shaping and building good international community or good international relations among the different nations. So this also guides international relations and resolutions of international conflict. So, the international ethics guides the international environmental effort to address the problem of ozone depletion. You can say global. I have taken these examples because I want to connect it with environmental ethics. So that is the your I think third unit. So the international relations, not only it revolves around the political relations, or you cannot say that it only revolves around the economic relations between the nations. Rather, another aspect of the international ethics is also to address the problems of ozone depletion. You can say global warming, or you can say glacier melting of the glaciers, etc., which are common shared problems. Even you can take environment pollutions, because environment has no boundary, that you know, and they require joint actions only by combined. So for all these problems, which is a shared problem, for all these shared problems, we need only a joint action. So this international ethics, or you can say that when we talk about international ethics, we also talk about international space, and that international space is filled with both government organizations and non-government organizations, having both ownership, or you can say control over issues and aspects that are central to life. So you see, in the international space, we see there are many government organizations as well as non-government organizations. They are either they have their ownership, or they are controlling over the issues and different aspects that is central to life. So many international issues which have deep ethical implications, and we participate in them in different ways. Okay. So suppose you can talk about the recently the pandemic, that is the corona pandemic, and you see all the almost the entire globe is crippled by the disease, and you see this becomes an international issue, how to tackle with the health issue, how to tackle with the disease. So we need, no doubt, we need a joint effort, but that when we implement that joint effort, we deal it with in different ways. So suppose what we say, that there will be distance of this much, and at times you can wear mask and at times you cannot, but when you visit to, when you see the other part of the world, there are different codes of conduct, that you know. So when we talk about the international space, international relations, and that international relations also guides our international ethics. And when we talk about, and here a component of that thing is the nation. And when we talk about the nation, the you can say that the size of the nation with population does not appear to be an influencing factor for international relations. We see nations with older generations are more in number and less younger generations. They pose a different problem in relation to another nation where younger generations are more and older generations are less. So you can see, you can take the example of Australia, where the older generations are more and the younger generations are less. And you, in contrast to that, in India, you see younger generations are more and older generations are less. So they definitely they pose two different problems, and how to deal with, keeping in mind in ethics, we have to, because countries are different, situations are different, problems are different. So how to tackle with this in the international level, that is also another, that is the issue of discussion for today. So you can say through cultural exchange programs, or because of international overseas assignments, people learned about different dimensions of international relations. So or you can say because of the economy, international, because of the economy, international relations grows. interdependence increases, or you can say that so gradually there is interdependence, or gradually you can say that interactions between nations are going on. So therefore you can say international ethics or international ethical guidance is necessary for the growth and maturity of international relations. So that's why we say that nowadays we live in a global village. And you know, the global village, or you can say that the in our if I say the same thing in a Indian way, we believe in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And when I say that there is one family, and there is we live in a global family, so there must be some guidelines, because business is going on, cultural exchange program is going on, even intellectual exchange programs are going on. So we must have some, you can say, we must have some form of guidelines, ethical guidelines, and that you can say international ethical guidelines, which will guide us to have a very strong international relations among the nations. Okay, so I can here take an example, that is you, the nearby country, you can take the example of China. China at present it is the, I think it is the second largest uh, mm, global economy wise, it is the second largest country, and in second largest country, if China wants to have supremacy, issue will be over other developing countries, then you see there will be definitely there will be tug of war, because at present, you know, USA, United States of America, is the only superpower country regarding, I'm talking about global economy. So if China wants to dominant, definitely there will be the dominance of the superpower country. If there is a dominance of China wants to interfere and China wants to dominate over the other, then definitely there will be, it will lead to war. And war, nobody wants war, and we have the already, we have the experience of the war that is going on between Russia and Ukraine, and no more you, we all want for a friendly and cooperation relations with different nations. So if there is a possibility that new superpowers will overtake the existing in the near future, then there will be the float of the new ethics. Okay, suppose in due course of time, suppose in the near future, the developed, or you can say the developing countries, not the underdeveloped, talk in terms of the developing countries, if they are going to take over the existing superpower countries, then definitely we have to think of the new form of ethics. The new, we have to think in terms of new ethics in the, among new ethics of the international relations. The size of the economy and the size of the international exchanges define the space for international relations. So you see, so when we talk about the different nations, though we live in a global village, but the stark reality is that there are competitions in the among the nations. So all the nations, they are competing with one another, either for natural resources, or for competing for markets for their goods, or they want to investment so that they can get more profit, or you can say competitions for talents, or you can say competition for technology, education, health. So there are competitions, that is the reality. There are competitions among the nation, this is a fact. So accordingly you can see in the, they are the different countries, different nations, they are ranked, and those who are unable to compete in the international market, definitely they are left out. That is a you know that that is the bitter truth that we are undergoing nowadays. So there are, if they are ranked and there are different indexes, you see, and that the international happiness index, I think uh, a very small country that ranked one. I am just unable to recall right now. A very small country that ranked one in the happiness index. And there is also a human development index, and there is also, we talk in terms of human capital index. So this is how we talk of different, we rank them, and this is how we talk of having different indexes. So no doubt these competitions among the nations, that is a very good thing, because by that we can learn from each other, and we can compete uh, only for the betterment, because through competitions we can learn from each other and we can grow together, and we can compete. Always the competition should be a healthy competitions, that is okay. That is fine. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, okay. So you see, so that when we talk about there are competitions among the nations, that is not something we do not, that is not something we blame it. No, rather we must welcome the competitions, because that competitions will help us for our improvement, for our development. So when we talk about competitions are also going on in the international sphere regarding the economy, that economic activities also no doubt it lead to different environmental issues. Okay, so therefore how the human beings live and what economic activities they must pursue in nature, that have been critically examined, and it has been incorporated in national and international policies. So you see, we do not appreciate, you see, never appreciate anything that creates more pollution, because nowadays we are more conscious about our environment. Environment means what is surrounded us, that is our environment. We always look into the healthiness of the environment, be it our family environment, be it our professional environment, be it my personal environment, or you talk about social environment. We all forms of environment that we are dealing with, that you are interacting with through our economic activity. So there is a caution. What is that caution? What sort of economic activities we should carry out or we should pursue in nature, so that we we have less pollution, so that we can have a healthy lifestyle here. So that needs to be critically examined, and it has to be incorporated in national and international policies. So nations, they are competing for the ecological systems by doing what they believe will help the preservations of the beauty and the integrity of the nature. So we all are ecologically conscious nowadays. So we try to do what will not affect, what will not degrade the quality of the environment, rather it will promote, rather we all are working for the preservation of the beauty and the integrity of the nature. So every nation, you know, it must have certain vision plans. So, and why we have a vision, and every institute, you can say every organization, you can say they have a mission and they have a vision. So every, similarly every nation has their own vision plans for long term future, like we think of in terms of 2050, we think in terms of 2040, and we think in terms of 2100. So we have a vision plan for long term future. So you see, this vision plan is meant for having its impact in the domestic sphere as well as in the international sphere. So these vision plans definitely need to be ethically examined, and it must be critically evaluated whether these vision plans are going to be effective, have its positive impact in the national level as well as in the international level. So there must be a harmony between the environment and the social and the human well-being. So whatever we do, whatever decisions we take, whatever policy we frame, the only purpose is the well-being of the community, is the well-being of the humanity, be it your social well-being, or you talk about environmental well-being, or in general you talk about human well-being. So that environmental ethics, it claims that the only way humanity can survive by having a new concept of ecosystem ethics. So because you see, nowadays we are talking about more and more of environment, and I am also giving emphasis on environment because you have a unit in this block. So therefore we are more and more working for the development of the ecosystems. So you see, if we rank the different nations, and you know that there are developed countries, they are very few in number. There are developing countries and there are underdeveloped countries. So the underdeveloped countries, people are there in the underdeveloped countries, people are there in the developing countries, and people are there also in the developed countries. And the developed countries, those who are in the developed countries, they have the obligation, they have the duty towards the underdeveloped countries. So because in the underdeveloped countries, they may have certain, they may adopt some livelihood, they may interact with the nature in such a cruel manner that it may, they may create more pollutions, they may have they may contribute more for the ozone layer depletion. So they need to be handled carefully by the developed countries. So for that, definitely we need international cooperation, collaboration, agreement, MOUs, or interdependence between the nations, that we are in need of that, so that we can maintain the international order, so that we can see that those people who live in the underdeveloped countries, they are not starved to death. So you see, so definitely there is, when we talk about we are dependent on another nation, another country for certain things, there must be, when you see, we make a memorandum of understanding. Why we, what, on what basis we make that memorandum of understanding? Because of the mutual interest. There must be some interest, mutual interest, both the parties will be benefited by that. So that mutual interest, or you talk about cooperation, provides a basis for a law of peace, and it can be the guideline for the international relations among the nations. Why we are cooperating each other? Because to have a international peace. Why the developing countries helping the underdeveloped countries? Because there will not be more poverty, will not be there. Why the developed countries feel that I have the responsibility and duty, I have the obligation and the duty and the responsibility to help the underdeveloped countries? Because there, by that we can check poverty, we can check hunger. So you see, so there must be, when we collaborate, when we handshake with another nation, there must be some mutual interest, and we cooperate with each other. So that provides a basis for the law of peace, and the law of peace is the basis for the international order or international harmony and peace, you can say. So, this to maintain that international order, to have that international peace or international relations among the nations, we have to maintain a diplomatic relation among the nations. You see, in every country there is an embassy. In America, there is an Indian embassy. In India, there is an American embassy. Why? Because that diplomatic initiatives by nations, they are available only to resolve their differences and come to an agreement which ensures peace, security, rights, and interest. So this is, you can say that because of these diplomatic initiatives, we try to address the issues of rights, the issues of interest, the issues related to security, the issues related to peace. So it is not only by these diplomatic initiatives, there is also in every nation, you see, every nation has its own defense wing, has its own military wing. So because why, you see, because we are seeing that there are wars, there are international conflicts among many nations, or the bright example is just that is going on Ukraine and Russia war. So military involvement, and you see military involvement and military strength is also required. But we should keep in mind, we should keep in check whether that military strength or that military involvement is influencing our international ethics or not. If it is influencing the international ethics, military strength or the military uh, force, it is influencing the international ethics, then we have to rethink twice. So there is also, we see that all the nations that we see, they are not of equal status. There are poor, I have already told you, there are poor nations, there are rich nations, there are poverty, and there is wealth among the nations. So you can say that one cannot simply say that the poverty is a domestic issue. It has to be, it is the internal issue of a nation, and it has to be addressed by the nation itself. This is how you cannot shy away the problem. You cannot take the problem aside. Rather, there is the international law of justice which we can invoke to take place to remove and reduce poverty. So you see, in the corona pandemic, that is a very good thing, and we must appreciate those who have donated very uh, um, with a very large heart. We must appreciate them, and we just think that in a higher manner, that here persons are helping the poor, and if we go to a higher position, then we can think that a country, a nation is helping a poor country. So because equality of wealth is not there, there are they belong to different countries, have different economic status. There are developing, there are developed, and there are underdeveloped countries. So if we invoke the international law of justice, by this we can, by this we can address the problem of poverty and hunger, by saying that by the international law of justice can invoke to take place to remove and reduce poverty. So every nation has a share in the world they live, and international, there are many international NGOs, they are working to remove poverty and hunger. So rich nations, they must come forward voluntarily to help the poor ones. That is the, again, it is also, you can add it in the international to have a good international relations. So when we talk about inequalities among nations, we also talk about the inequalities among nations. That is the stark reality, you can say, because we are living in an unequal world. So that inequality indicates that either there are some conflicts, or there is a disturbing trend. Why we see, you see, we always believe in equality, and we take equality as a virtue, as a ethical virtue, as a moral virtue. But we cannot be away from the reality, and the stark reality is that we are living in an unequal world. And that inequality, when we say that inequality, it suggests that either there is the, it suggests that there must be a disturbing trend is going on there. So you can say that, so there is here, the here uh, the it is the role of the international ethics, which is to harness international power for international growth, peace, and security. Inequality means it is not the thing that they will be treated unequally. Rather, you can say that inconvenience, sorry, very sorry. So you see, sorry for the inconvenience. So you see, so because if there is a disturbing trend, it can be addressed only by the international ethics, and that international ethics will harness the international power for the international growth, peace, and security. So, you see, when we talk about ethics in general and when we talk about international ethics, there must be international politics, and there must be, you see, and there must be the role. When we talk about politics, there is also the role of media has to play great role there. So we have to encourage, when we talk about international ethics, there we must incorporate the freedom of speech and the freedom of information. It is a part of the international media, which is also a part of the international ethics. So we have to encourage, or we have to see that freedom of speech is maintained, and we have to see that freedom of information is also, it is also maintained its quality, that we have to check again and again, then only we can have an appropriate international ethics. So that international ethics, it may get influenced by developments in scientific research fields. And you see, when we talk about research, we are also nowadays abided by research ethics. So, that research, when we talk about the research ethics, that may be contextual. Therefore, international ethics has to be multidimensional. It is also challenged by the global research, because when you say, when we talk about research, there is also a growing realization that animals for medicine, animals, we usually use animals, so animals should not be used for experimental purpose. For anything and everything we are using animals, we have taken them for granted. That should not be, because we are also, because they have also the sense of feeling pleasure and pain. So we cannot, so when we talk about research, scientific research, we have to be very cautious about the research ethics. And research ethics is also a part of the, you can say, the part of the international ethics. So this again another thing here I want to say, that international ethics is also influenced by various philosophies of national and international power. It is also influenced by both the, you can talk about the national power, you can talk about the international power, that is also influencing the international ethics. Suppose you see, there is anarchy, and suppose there is an anarchy nature of power which does not follow any rule, but still we can have, because ethics, the whole aim of ethics is to explore all the alternatives that is available. So definitely a better alternative is emerged, that a better alternative of power is emerged, which follows certain rules. You talk about, besides anarchy, you talk about democracy. In democracy, we follow certain rules. So when we talk about power, we have to understand the dynamism of power, which includes humility, patience, tolerance, so on and so forth, so that we can have a better ethics, so that we can have a better ethics in the international sphere. So, this is, with this background, let us come to the philosophy of international ethics. So, when we talk about the philosophy of international ethics, so by philosophy we understand it, it requires a critical reflection. So, we have to critically reflect upon the international ethics. So regarding this philosophy of international ethics, we have four theories, you can say four views. One is realism, another one is idealism, and there is the third one is constructivism, and the fourth one is cosmopolitanism. So to begin with realism, I can say realism, it focuses on a single international power. There is only one superpower country, and you have to follow what the superpower country dictates. That is the realism. Okay. So in international ethics, so only thing that really matters here according to realism is power. Everything else like morality, law, justice, culture, and others, they are simply irrelevant. They are not required. Only what matters more, that is the power, and only we talk about the only one superpower. So you can say that there is, if everybody is to obey that the order of that superpower, then definitely you will see here there is a dominating nation, or there is a dominating country, and all other countries, they are dominant, if we will go by the realism theory of international ethics. So you can say, so if there is only one country, one power, one superpower, so definitely realism denies the common views, the or common ethics, or the shared ethics is denied, completely denied. Rather, only you can say that only one ethics is possible, and that is the realism. And that realism tells you that ethics is simply a free zone which can be filled by power only. So power matters. Finally, according to realism, you can say that um, uh, power is everything, power matters. So there is no role of morality, there is no role of law, there is no law of justice, even there is no role of culture. So here I am reminded of a saying. There is a saying, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So if you can say power is the only basis of international relations, then there will be imposition of the superpower nations to other nations. So here with caution I can say, if we will give absolute power to one country only, that will absolutely corrupt all other countries. So we can here argue that if there is only a superpower nation and nobody challenges the nation, then there will be peace. This is how you can argue that. Suppose there is a superpower, only one superpower country, and what he dictates, what that country dictates, everybody is to follow it, then there will be no war, there will be no disagreement, there will be no differences, there will be no discrimination. Rather, everybody, there will be peace. But if this is simply a superficial way of understanding the thing, but if we dive deep, then we learn that its power is already challenged. Therefore, there is no real peace. So, to realism, these are the two objections you can say. So, on the other hand, the idealism, because idealism is also another theory that we discuss when we discuss about the philosophy of international ethics. So on the other hand, idealism, it focuses more on common interest, it focuses more on shared ethics or common ethics between the nations, and not on power balance. Okay. So it always encourages, it always welcomes the common interest of the different nations, or you can talk about the common ethics, shared ethics of the different nations. So this idealism gives importance on the idealist values that are common to the participating nations on certain international issues. So you see, suppose we'll go by idealism, then you see the all the countries, you can say, You will never find out a single country, single nation who will oppose violence, who will oppose non-violence. Everybody will appreciate non-violence. Everybody will denounce violence. So in this idealism, in this idealistic framework, idealism framework, you can say that it gives importance on idealist values that are common to the participating nations on certain international issues. So, idealism appears stronger in power and has the potency to throw out realism, which is unilateral power. So, it talks about it sounds to be, or it seems to be a very strong, more stronger in, because there are, if we compare it to realism, we see that realism talks about only one superpower. It talks about unilateral power. But here, when we talk about idealism, it talks about the power of the many nations. So definitely, it emerges to be a stronger one, and it has the potency, you can say, to throw out realism, which is unilateral power. So it takes care of human purposes and human flourishing, and this idealism points to in international marketing in order, in international marketing, international order, or you can say that international system that follows certain rules. So in in realism there is no rule following, but in case of idealism we have to follow certain rules for the international order, for the international marketing, or for the international system. Okay, so in as we see, in realism there is only power matters, so no role of culture, law, morality, rules, no role of all these things are there. But here in idealism, there is the place of law is there, ethics is there, morality, all the different dimensions of a society, you can say, it is taken care, which will pave the path for international peace, or for the path for global peace, you can say. Coming to the third theory related to the philosophy of international ethics, we say it with the constructivism. And constructivism focuses on domestic politics and how it influences foreign policies, diplomatic initiative to shape international relations. So, when we talk about constructivism, it focuses more on domestic politics so that we can have foreign policies for the betterment of the nation. We all can have the diplomatic initiative so that we can develop international relations with other nations. So, this constructivism is, you can say, is seems to be more pragmatic in its approach. Pragmatic means usefulness. It seems to be more pragmatic in its approach. So, every nation, it has an identity, and it is constructed to influence the way the nation interacts with other nations. So you see, every nation has its own identity. Even you can say those who visited India, and we say that the guests, they are just like gods. We treat our guests just like gods. Atithi Deva Bhava. So you can say that it is the identity, it is the Indian identity. So that identity, that national identity, it also influences the international sphere where various identities can be melted into more human understanding between people through give and take, okay, through exchange and through offering. We can say that we can grow together, and therefore we say constructivism is very much pragmatic in its approach. So this constructivism as a theory, it also gives more power to individual nations through national identity. Okay, that I have already, from the very definition of constructivism as a theory, I have told you it gives more importance on domestic politics. Therefore, definitely in constructivism, more power is given to the individual nations only through national identity, and the identity politics may create, no doubt, the identity politics will create conflicts or tensions or violence, but their role for intersphere cannot be denied. They are so, but still, you can say that national identity may create conflict in the international sphere, but at the same time, that also contribute for the uh, contribute the role of the particular nation for the international relations that we cannot deny. So that last theory, the philosophical theory regarding international ethics is named as cosmopolitanism, and this cosmopolitanism, it shares something in common with idealism. It is, you can say that it is an extension of idealism. So it emphasized on how we interact in global community, how we treat others as moral beings. It empowers international ethics and develops the global values. So cosmopolitanism treats the cosmos, the entire cosmos, as a one. So, how we treat other moral beings, how we look at the international issues, and how we see the other, that is more discussed here. That's why we say that it is an extension of idealism, because it gives importance on international ethics as well as on develop some form of global values. So this cosmopolitanism, it welcome all people without any discrimination. You see, in constructivism there is discrimination of the national identity, but here cosmopolitanism welcome all people without any discrimination, does not use anyone as a means for some other end. It treats each and every individual human being as an end in itself. It gives importance on the rights of the individual as well as their freedom. So these are the four theories. So to sum up, I can say that international ethics, it guides our choices in the international sphere. Every life is considered as of equal weight. Everyone has equal rights. Respect for every life form is a part of the international ethics. International ethics will continue to evolve, and there will be more dimensions to that in near future. So it is a evolving ethics, you can say. It will add on as the time pass by. With this, I am closing the unit 1 of the block 3, that is the international ethics. So let us move to bioethics, which is the second unit. So when we talk about bioethics, we must keep in mind that bioethics is a subfield of applied ethics that explores ethical questions related to the medical sciences or lives or biological sciences, you can say. So it helps people how to behave when someone is sick or is in dying, how to make decisions about their behavior and about policy making, etc. So, bioethics, you can say, bioethics in one way, you can say that it is the intersection of both ethical issues and medical science. Because the very word bio means life. So, it is the ethics which you can define as life centered ethics, right? So, Van Van Rensselaer Potter in the year 1971 coined the term bioethics. So this bioethics involves also social philosophy, because the basic concepts health, that is a socially constructed concept. So you see, there is a difference here I want to make. There was a traditional medical ethics. Traditional medical ethics, in traditional medical ethics, you'll see There it highlights more on the conduct of the physician or the conduct of the doctors. So therefore, there is a in all form of biomedical ethics, we discuss about the Hippocratic oath. Hippocrates, he is a Greek physician. He was a Greek physician, and uh, after his name, there is the Hippocratic oath is named after him only. And in the Hippocratic oath, it is said that I, whenever or when I visit to the house of a patient, I must maintain some disciplines. What is that discipline? I will not share the nature of the disease with someone else. Suppose somebody is diagnosed with some disease, that I will not share with others. I will maintain strict confidentiality. That is written in the Hippocratic Oath. So every even at present also, when you enter into study the medical science, you have to take that Hippocratic Oath. That was basically, it was in the traditional medical ethics, which gives more and more importance on the conduct of the physicians. But you see, when we talk about medicine, you talk about medical science. Here, it is not only confined to the physician, it is not only confined to the doctor only. More people are involved in the process of treatment. More people, at least you can say that there is a physician and there is a patient. And physician alone, the physician is not sufficient. There is the nurse is involved. Again, the person, the technicians, those who are making ultrasound or they are taking the photocopies of or scanning or whatever it may be, so these people's other peoples are involved. So it is not, when we talk about the medical science, it is not only about involvement about the physicians only, there are more peoples are involved. So therefore a new ethics emerged, and this new ethics is named as biomedical ethics, or in short you can say it to be the bioethics, right? So this bioethics, the new one, the new emerged ethics, this gives more importance on what should be the proper behavior, what should be the rights and obligations of the physicians towards the patient. So, regarding this, the relationship between the physician and the patient, there are three theories you can see. One is the paternalism theory, another one is the individualism theory, and the third one is the reciprocal theory, or you can say that collegial model, you can say. So, the paternalism, it gives importance only on one thing, that is doctor knows the best. The slogan goes like this: doctor knows the best, because doctor have the expertise in the medical science. So let us go by the doctor's advice. The patient has no role to play here. So the doctor has to take a parental care. That is all about paternalism. It takes the form of either engineering model, or you can talk about another model, that is the priestly model is there. And when we talk about engineering model, can we say that the body, our body, which is affected by a disease, can we say that the body is just like a machine and the physician is just like a mechanic? But friends, it is never so, because the body, the human being who has a body, that human being is not only a physical entity, he has his emotions, he is a psychic entity, spiritual entity. So how can we say that it is just like a machine and the physician is a mechanic, he will make the reparations, so it is, this model is not going to work properly. So that's why we talk about another model which is named as the priestly model. And in the priestly model, what we say that the physician is just like a savior. Physicians, it is only the physician who can create hope in all of us. So even a very good word of a physician, it also creates it also encourages the patient to fight with the disease. So the priestly model, even whether you talk about the engineering model or the priestly model, they are only giving importance on the role of the physicians and completely ignoring the patient. But whose body is affected? Who is affected by the disease? It is the patient. Patient's body is affected. So the patient has the every right to be informed properly. What has happened to his body? What is the disease? What is the nature of the disease? What treatment he has to be given? What is the cost of the treatment? What is the post effect treatment? Everything is to be discussed in detail because it is the body of the patient that is affected. So in individualism, you see the if we'll go by some legal rights, we see that there is right to information is there, right to life is there. So all the rights that vouchsafed for the patient to be informed properly. When we analyze both these two theories, that is the paternalism and individualism, we see that either the physician is given high importance and completely the patient is getting ignored, or we see the patient is given utmost importance and the physician is completely ignored. So therefore, these are, you can say in one word, these are two extremes regarding the relationship between the physician and the patient. Therefore, we talk of a better theory which reconciles both these two extremes, and this theory emerges as the collegial model or reciprocal model. There must be proper reciprocity between the physician and the patient so that the patient will come out with the truth of every act of commission and every act of omission. The physician has to win over the confidence of the patient, and automatically the patient will disclose every act of commission and the act of omission so that the treatment will be so that the disease will be diagnosed properly and the treatment will be carried out, and again it will be easier to restore the normal health with the patients. Okay, so when we talk about this physician and patient relationship or particularly bioethics, there are many issues. I am not, because of the paucity of time and even while going through your text, I do not find out, I do not feel that there is all these issues are to be discussed. So when we talk about basically bioethics, it is not only simply, it is not only an ethical issue or it is not only purely a medical issue. Rather, bioethics is also, we found it to be a social dimensions also. For example, you see, when we talk about, you must be all of you must be knowing about surrogacy. Surrogacy is a practice, it is a medical practice where a person can deliver a child for the childless couple. A study shows that in the globe, in the entire world, there are more than 70 million people who are childless. So they are undergoing some sort of stigmas. So they socially they are excluded, and if a woman is childless, then she is doubly excluded, you can say. So here what we have to do, their problem, they are childless, their problem, it is a social problem. So if it is a social problem, so you can say that bioethics has a social dimension. And if bioethics is a social dimension and there are some problems which are social problems and that need to be addressed, and to address the problem, we just come out with a new practice, that is the surrogacy practice. Through surrogacy practice, a coupleless parent can be a a childless couple can be the parent of a child, someone else. Well, there are many stories, there are many pictures also. Presently, you can go through the picture of Mimi, that is also based on this surrogacy practice. and there are some iconic figures like Priyanka Chopra, who is also having a baby through surrogacy, for which Taslima Nasrin has strong resentment for that practice. So that I, because only to show that how bioethics has a social dimension, I have also discussed that. So again, another issue you can say, that organ donation that is happening now and then here and there. In Odisha, we have a Angadana, that is said to be a very particular NGO is working on that. So you can say that the organ donation, it is also the person who is donating his or her organ for another, it is also a social, we are working for a social cause. So there are, you can say that there are also social dimensions. Okay, there are different issues that I am not going to discuss because that is not required, but there are severe other social issues, because in, when we talk about organ donation, you will be surprised to know that in, particularly in Ukraine, the they um, the women, they are getting pregnant only to sell the zygote with some dollars, huge dollars, for same stem cell research, that the new research is going on. So you see, for that they are selling the zygote, they intentionally they get pregnant, and they sell it with huge transactions. That is happening now in many countries, and through surrogacy also, it is also a, and India is said to be a heaven for surrogacy. But after 2020 regulation, surrogacy regulation bill, there are restrictions. So you see, so what the entire bioethics tells you, that we have to think about, when either while the physician is treating the patient, treating the body of the patient, the physicians must have one moral principle, that is the respect for person. Within the patient, there is a personhood that is lying, and I have to respect that person. So that must be there. And with another, we have to follow another utilitarian principle, that is the only thing that we have to keep in mind while we are discussing about the bioethical issues. That is, we have to be guided by one utilitarian principle, that is, we have to minimize harm and we have to maximize benefit. Okay, so I think with this is enough, I think. Let me have some water, please. With this, we will move on to the third unit of this block 3, that is the environmental ethics. Okay, so again, you know, environmental ethics, it is a subfield from the very beginning. I have already told you that environmental ethics, media ethics, you talk about bioethics, these are all um, coming under the category of applied ethics, because they have some issues that only when we apply them to the real life situations. So again, when we talk about environmental ethics, it is also a subfield of applied ethics. So the relationship between the man and the environment raises some fundamental and serious issues which demands for critical and philosophical reflections. Okay, because you see, we are in the environment, we are living in a particular environment. So, and you know, being human, we are also doing some activities. Okay, so by our activities, we are we are harming the nature. You see, only to have some concrete jungles, only to have some high rise buildings, we just cut down the number of trees. We are in the process of deforestation. Even you see, Amazon, which is said to be the lungs of the entire earth, that that is burning for months and months together. So by that we are only creating deforestation, and because of that human activity, you see there is increase in pollution. Okay, even nowadays it is seen that the microplastics are also found in the lungs of the human beings. So there is also global warming. The entire globe is getting hotter and hotter, and there are, because of the heat, there is melting of the glaciers in the polar region, and there is, because of all these activities, there is extinction of some species. Okay, and there are many more problems. So that is the reason for which we have we are becoming ecologically conscious, and we are talking in terms of environmental ethics. So let us discuss one or two features of the environmental ethics. So when we talk about the environmental ethics, this environmental ethics is an extension of the traditional ethics. It is not completely different from traditional ethics. No, it is not like that. Rather, it is an extension of the traditional ethics. In other words, the second feature, you can say that it is interdisciplinary. It is bound to be interdisciplinary, you can say, because environmental science is here, is discussed under the banner or under the umbrella of environmental ethics. Environmental economy we do discuss, environmental literature, because from literature we can get how to take care of environment. So all these are there under the one umbrella that is named as environmental ethics. Therefore in a way you can say that it is bound to be interdisciplinary, because the environmental literature, or you talk about the environmental economy, they are not opposing each other. They are complementary or supplementary to each other, or they are supporting each other, so that we have a better understanding of the environment, so that we can take care of the environment, not though not for others, even for ourselves only. So you can say that this environmental ethics, another feature of the environmental ethics is that it is plural. It is in environmental, under the banner of environmental ethics, we broadly talk about three prominent theories. What are these theories? One is anthropocentrism, second one is biocentrism, and the third one is ecocentrism. Okay, so anthropocentrism, I will discuss these theories in detail. Uh, then I will go back to the features of environmental ethics. So when we talk about anthropocentrism, in other words, it is named as human-centered ethics, because our religions, particularly Genesis, it is written that man is created in the image of God. Go and ruin over sea, fish, so on and so forth. So man is the crown of the creation. So man is the you can say is the um, is the most evolved and developed creature who has who can rule over the others. So it is for the, so everything is for man, nothing. So that's why Protagoras says that man is the measure of everything. So everything, whatever you see all around, whether it is the tree or it is the fruit or it is the sea or it is the fish, everything is for the betterment of the human. So go and ruin over the world. That is so, because that anthropocentrism attitude develops because of the influence of, you can say, religion. In many religions it is written like this, but there is, when by the activities of the human being, we are we are so powerful to do whatever we want to do, or we must have some check and balance. We must, before doing anything, we have to think twice whether and what I am doing, whether it is benefit, whether it is only uh, benefiting me or it is benefiting for the community. That we have to think, because we are talking about ethics. So when that anthropocentric, there is a gradual realization of the humans that no, it is not, it is a very myopic vision of understanding the environmental ethics. So to that, they shifted to another theory that is called as biocentrism. In between, there is a sentiocentrism, and sentiocentrism tells you that those who have sentience, sentience means feeling of pleasure and pain, they can be ethically treated. Okay, so we can treat the animals, the other animals, where there will be the discussion of animal rights also. Animal rights is also a part of the environmental ethics. So again, those who have the feeling of pleasure and pain sensation, they can be ethically treated. But again, we are with our reason, with our developed reason, with our ethical cognitions, with our ethical consciousness or moral consciousness. Again, we see that this also is not going to fulfill the purpose. That's why we shifted to biocentric. Bio means life. So this is the other name of this biocentrism is called as by life-centered ethics. That means those who have life, the plants have life, the animals have life, the humans have life, they must be ethically treated. They must be ethically treated. There must be respect for all. There must be all. There must be respect for all. So they must be ethically treated. But again, you see, so the third theory, which is more plausible, which is more acceptable to all of us, that is the ecocentrism, because we say that not only it is simply by looking at the life of all life, simply by taking care of the all life forms, it is not going to solve the problem. Rather, if we take that earth ethics, if you see, if you take that earth has a life, in the earth, even the very dust particle has its own role to play. Because of the dust particle, we are surviving. So there is interconnectedness and there is interdependence that we have to realize. If there is interconnectedness and interdependence that we admit, then we have to accept the earth ethics, or you can talk about the ecocentrism. You can take the ecology as a whole. So here we talk about holism. So everything, whether it has life, everything, whether it has, even the, I'm telling you, even the dust particle, it has a role to play in maintaining the integrity and the beauty of the nature. Here again, you can say that the another feature, I will, because I am, it is already 5:15. So the another feature of environmental ethics is that it is global, because when we talk about environmental pollution, it has no boundary. So we say that it is it is a global issue, environmental pollution. Or you talk about, that's why we have given the name global warming. It is not the thing that the warmth may be in degree. If we measure the warmth, it may vary from one region to another region, but the entire globe is getting hotter. That is a fact. So you can say that all these crises that is happening in the environment, these you can name as ecological crisis, and these ecological crises are, you can say that these are global crises. So it must have a global perspective how to address these ecological crises. Therefore, we say that environmental ethics is something that is global, that is not regional. Okay, so environmental ethics, the another feature I will close here only regarding the features of the ethics, that environmental ethics is also a revolutionary ethics, because all the, we see why we say it to be the revolutionary one, because in environmental ethics gives importance, gives equal weightage to all the life forms. The all the life forms, you can say, they have a right to live, and By destroying the environment, we are only depriving them from their right to life. So, disturbing the, in the nature, we talk in terms of a butterfly effect. Butterfly effect means if we disturb a part of the nature, the other parts automatically gets disturbed. So we can say that if these are the issues that we are confronted with in our everyday transactions with the nature, so being the you can say being the most developed creature, you can say that human beings have certain duties, have certain obligations towards the fellow beings, towards the environment, towards the nature. So all have their right to have a fair share of existence. In the name of the development, simply we cannot disturb the mountain because the mountain has a right to stand. Mm, the tree has a right to stand tall. Similarly, the river has a right to flow downwards. Everyone has a right to have a fair share of the existence in the globe. So, in the name of development, we cannot disturb everything and anything. Suppose by doing development, if we are creating more environmental hazards, more environmental pollutions, can we remain ourselves? Can we be contented with zero development? This is also not possible because we human beings are being creative. We always be in the process of development. So there is a possibility that addresses both development and zero development, and the possibility emerged as the sustainable development. So we can maintain the integrity and the purity of the environment by adopting a golden mean between the development and the zero development, which is named as sustainable development. So when we talk about environmental ethics, can we say environmental ethics to be normative only, or can you say it to be descriptive only? So it will be better to say that the environmental ethics, it is descriptive, it is prescriptive, as well as it is a critical one. So here I want to quote Aldo Leopold, who is a forester ecologist, a wildlife manager, a professor and conservationist, author and prophet of environmental ethics, who claimed that anything you can say it is right when it tends to preserve the integrity, stability, and beauty of the biotic community. Anything what you do, it is right if it keeps in mind the stability, integrity, and the beauty of the biotic community. It is wrong when it tends otherwise. So you can say that this land, this earth, it is a community is the basic concept of ecology, but that land is to be loved and respected is an extension of ethics. This is the view of Leopold. There is also another book, Almanac, where the author says that the tribals, they do not possess lands, rather lands possess them. You see, that is the way of possessiveness, you can say. So to this, I can say that we have to develop the sense of ecosophy. Ecosophy means, or you can say that eco wisdom. We must be conscious. We must be philosophically. We must develop the wisdom regarding the ecology, and we have to understand that we are safe, we as humans are safe only when all others are safe. That we have to understand, and by that again, we have to develop another thing, that is, you can say, the we understand that we are a fellow member, and we are a member of the community only. The community is the globe, the community is the entire earth, and I am just a plain member and a citizen of the community. and only, and I have respect for all the fellow members and respect for the community as such. So thereby we can take care and we can have respect for the soil, the climate, and all living things. So we have to again realize that interrelatedness and interdependence. I'll close quoting only Gandhi, that once Gandhi said, nature has everything for the man's need but nothing for the human greed. Nature has everything, because you see, if we look at the nature, when nature has, when a life come to this earth, food is already there available in the nature. So nature has everything for the human need but nothing for the human greed. With this, we will go back, we will again move on to the last bit of this block, that is the media ethics. Okay. So particularly you see, when we talk about media, so media is the, you can say, media is the medium through which information is shared by people at large. So it is the medium through which we share informations with each other. This is the uh, medium. So why we talk of media ethics? So what is that media ethics, you can say? Media ethics, it is concerned about the question of what is right or wrong, good or bad, acceptable or unacceptable, about the means and the ways media collects and presents information or disseminates the knowledge on the news, presents the information and the news. So while presenting, collecting the informations and presenting the informations in the form of news or views, what you can say, what is to be accepted and what is not to be accepted, what is good or what is bad, what is right or what is wrong. So to determine that, we need media ethics. So you can say that particularly we talk about, there are four pillars of strong pillars of democracy. What are these? One is the government, second one is the judiciary, third one is the executives, and fourth one is the media. So media has a very pivotal role in maintaining the law and order, about maintaining the quality of life of the citizens. So media has a very pivotal role here, you can say. So when we talk about media, there are different forms of media. We talk about visual media, we talk about auditory media, we talk about audio visual media. So, visual media, I mean the print media, you can see the newspapers, the magazines, or the advertisements. These are all called as the where the informations are presented. This is known as the you can say this is known as the visual media, where we can read and we can get to know about what is happening all around us. We will be informed. Okay. So there is also another media that is called audio media, audio, that is only you can, auditory media, that is you can take radio, uh, where you will through different programs you will also get the informations. And the more acceptable nowadays, acceptable media is the audio visual media. You can talk about um, television, that is the audio visual media, where you can see as well as hear. Okay. So this audio, this electronic, usually we broadly in from another standpoint we can talk about two types of media. One is print media and another one is electronic media. Both radio, audio and audio visual, they belong to this um, um, they belong to this, you can say, they belong to the audio visual, they belong to the electronic media. And when we talk about the newspaper, magazines and advertisements, they belong to the print media. Okay, so if we'll compare both the print media and the electronic media, you know that electronic media is relatively faster than the print media in reaching people. Okay, because the newspaper will come the next day, but prior to that, through either auditory, or through audio visual, we get the informations. Okay, so when we particularly talk about these different forms of media, and we always know that the print media, it is put into severe criticisms. Why? Because you see, the press, while claiming to be objective, in reality it is found to be biased. When we talk about, because the newspaper belongs to a particular person, the newspaper belongs to the particular group, the newspaper belongs to, so accordingly the biasness is there. And you see, all the columns, there are some, you see, there are some columns, they are in bold, and they are and some are just like in ordinary language, so that those who are, those which are bold, they will immediately draw the attention of the reader. So we see that the biasness is there in the print media. It is the critics, they are criticizing in this way. So you can say that most newspapers, they are frankly partisan in politics, and very few that work for the cause of the public. Okay, so mostly the print medias, they are biased, because they are influenced either by a powerful person, or the by the by a, by a political party which is in power. So there is the influence of the power, politics, money is there in the print media, that you know. So media ethics here, this demands the social responsibility with public demands. So media is not only to disseminate the informations to others, rather it is not only, the job of the media is not to pass the informations to the readers, rather it has a greater role, that it demands, it must maintain the social responsibility, and that social responsibility at par with the public interest. Okay, so it should promote new ideas, opinions, and truths. It should act like mirroring the society and its people just the way they are. So the media will not, you see, usually what happens in the media only cover the 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 brighter side of the thing. It never covers the gray side of the thing. So the media ethics demands that it must cover both the gray side and the white side of the thing, because every issue, it is not always in black and white, so that it will be covered. There are also gray side of an issue, so it has to be covered with equal weightage, with equal footing, just like we cover the black and white sides. So the media, the first thing, what is the role, you can incorporate it in media, that is the media must have to play the role of, what you can say, the the role of serving for the interest of the larger number of people. It is not like that the media will cover only some, only it will not satisfy only a group of people. It will not cover all the news and views that is regarding to a particular community. It should be community free. It should be, there should not be any biasness. It should maintain the impartiality. So all these are the, you can say, all these are incorporated, what you call the media ethics. Okay, so media, when we talk about the media ethics, we must keep in mind that it has the responsibility, and the responsibility of spreading or disseminating the right knowledge, disseminating the right information, not anything that is presented in a colorful manner. So the, again you can say that the journalists, those who are collecting the informations, they should be impartial. They should not be any selfish motive, or otherwise they should not be unworthy. Rather, they should be trustworthy. And you can say that the freedom of the press must be given to the media to present the right and the wrong as wrong. So it must have independence, that it must be free from all sorts of obligations, and except that of fidelity to the public interest. So the next one, you can add that it must maintain the objectivity, it must be maintain the you can adequacy, and it must be truthful, it must be accurate, and while collecting the information and disseminating the informations to the common mass, it should maintain accuracy, it should not be colored, it should maintain accuracy, and there must be impartially. While disseminating an information, one should not be biased by religion, by caste, by community. So one should be as much impartial as one can be, and one must maintain the fairness while disseminating the information to the larger community of the society. So, with this, you can say that though these are the things that the media has to maintain, so that we can say that the media is actually the fourth pillar of the democracy. But while you see, uh, so we have to take certain precautions while we are talking, because here in this unit we are talking about media ethics. So here we must take certain precautions. What is that precautions we must keep in mind? We have to follow certain guidelines, precautions in the form of guidelines. That guidelines must be, the first guideline must be, while uh, telecasting, or you can say broadcasting a children program, we must always keep in mind that it must be educative. It must be, it instead of being entertaining alone, it must be educative. The pedagogical input that must reflect in the program. What is that pedagogical input? That there must be the respect for parents, there must be the law and order is properly maintained, and there must be appropriate ethical behavior of the character of the program. So you see, we must maintain that. That is the guideline, you can say, while disseminating or while telecasting a program or broadcasting a program. So similarly, the very controversial one, and that media should take precautions while dealing with a controversial public issue, that must be given fair representation of both the sides. It is not the case that we will be biased by one side and we will only broadcast or telecast their standpoints and completely ignoring the other standpoints. That is because it is a controversial public issue, and that controversial public issue must be given a fair representation from both the sides. Anything that is subjudice, that should not come to the media. And while media is playing its own role in disseminating information, it should not encourage, it should not entertain any form of violence, any form of vulgarity, obscenity, or hurting the religious statements. That definitely all these things need to be avoided. These are very much clearly stated in the guidelines of media. So you can say that I will just concentrate on one topic, which is a very debatable topic in all forms of media, that is public interest vis-a-vis right to privacy, or you can say that the freedom of press versus right to privacy. So you see, people, you see, in the community or the society, there are many iconic persons. There are many ideals in the society. Suppose somebody is interested in knowing the lifestyle of a particular Hollywood or Bollywood star. Suppose. So, what he or she usually uh, engages herself only through either through social media or through print media or through electronic media. She or he also always engages herself in knowing about that heroic person, about the lifestyle, everything, personal to professional, everything we want to know about the iconic persons. So, but basically, we have to keep in mind that though the person is a public figure, though the person is a iconic figure, but he has a private life. That we have to always put it in our mind. So, people, you can say those who are in public figure, those who are in public life, they are more vulnerable when their private lives become a spotlight for the media. So definitely, when because you see whether the person is an iconic one or not, whether the person has a public life, whether the person is a public figure, maybe the person is a public figure, but apart from that, he has a private life. So if the his or her private life will be a spotlight, then TRP of the media will go high. So keeping that TRP, keeping to make that TRP high, they are just media people, they are just paparazzi, one group of media people, those who are named as paparazzi, they are running after the public figures. And you know, there is a Lady Diana, the Queen of United Kingdom, she died because of that paparazzi, you can say. She wanted to fled away, so she committed with high speed. The driver, she directed, or she and her boyfriend, they directed the driver to move faster. So by that they committed an accident and both of them died. So this is also another group of media people, those who are named as paparazzi. So you can say that while there is the privacy, you can talk about when it is a debate between the public life and the public interest and the private life, we have to always keep in mind, the media people has to always keep in mind that privacy is the fundamental freedom of people, and it is essential for liberty and dignity. So suppose suppose the private life of a public figure, if it will be come in the news, whether that person is affected or not, that we must take into account. If it is not, you can bring the private life of a public figure into the media news and views, if it is for the greater interest of the community, larger interest of the society, otherwise not. Otherwise we have to respect the privacy, because above all he is a person, though he is a public figure, he has also his privacy, that we ought to respect. So because it is a fundamental freedom of people, we have to maintain the dignity and the freedom. So media justifies such interference in privacy by arguing that it is in the public interest. So if there is a public interest, the media argues that why they are introducing the private life of the public figure, because it is in the public interest. But you see, so you can say that you can take the permission, the best way, the guideline that of media ethics tells you that you can take the permission. If the public figure allows that, yes, my private life will be broadcasted or telecasted, it is okay. Otherwise one should not, and we must give respect to the freedom, to the liberty, to the dignity of the public figure, because above all he has also his private life. So again you can say that the if at any point of time, if the media people or the media will be maintain a careless attitude then definitely it will create havoc in the entire society, whether it is directly or it is indirectly. Suppose there is, you talk about some advertisements regarding tobacco related materials, or if there is any advertisement which explicitly states about the subjugating of women, they need to be, they need not to be recommended immediately. These things should be stopped. So you see, the mass media, you can say here, the mass media has an obligation to show the right thing as right, and the to show the right, not only the right thing, but the right thought and the right guidelines by following certain rules and regulations. So there the media, though there is the freedom of press is given to the media, but still there is a, media has to violate that, he has to always speak the truth. He will never present the thing in a colorful manner. But at times of, there are times where there is internal unrest. There are times where you can say that sensitive issue is there, or you can talk about communal riot. There the media has, is bound to suppress the fact if it is required. So suppose at the time of, suppose there is a communal riot and there is the demise of number of people, the media is given direction by the state not to disclose the truth. Rather, the truth is to be presented in a twisted form. So you cannot say directly it is falsehood, but it can be presented in a twisted form, and this is the duty of the media for the best interest of the society, for the larger interest of the society. Similarly, you can say that the media has the social responsibility. Not only at all these times the media has to behave according to the guidelines, even the media has the social responsibility. And you can say that the media has the responsibility to provide trustworthy and relevant news and information. Suppose you see someone somewhere is neglected. Suppose a village is getting neglected. If it will be covered by a media, if it will be telecasted or broadcasted, definitely the the government mechanism will take care of that. So it has a social responsibility equally, you can say. It has the foremost responsibility, I can say that, to provide the trustworthy and the relevant news and the information. So you can conclude by saying that the role of media in our everyday life becomes very, very essential to bring about healthier society, healthier nation, and the global world. Okay, with this I can conclude this unit. This is the, sorry, this unit and the entire block 3. If you have any issue anywhere, you want to ask anything, any question, you can raise the questions. Please unmute and raise the questions. Okay, Mamta,
Yes, ma'am.
ମମତା
Yes,
ବୁଝିପାରିଲ
ma'am.
ସବୁ? ବୁଝିପାରିଲ?
ଆଜ୍ଞା ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମ।
ଆଉ କିଛି ମାନେ if any questions, any doubt is there, you can ask me. କିଛି ଯଦି ଅଛି।
ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମ ବୁଝି ହଉଛି ଯେ ଆପଣ ଟିକେ ମଝିରେ ଟିକେ ଓଡିଆ ଟିକେ ମିକ୍ସ କରିକି ବୁଝେଇଲେ ଆଉ ଟିକେ ଭଲ ଲାଗିବ।
ଆଚ୍ଛା, ଓଡ଼ିଆ ଦରକାର, ତାହେଲେ ମତେ ମୂଳରୁ କହିଦେଲନି। ଆଉ ମୁଁ ତ
ଏମିତି କିଛି କହୁନାହାନ୍ତି।
କେହି, ତମେ କାହିଁ, ମୁଁ ରିପିଟେଡଲି ପଚାରୁଛି, ତମର ତ ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସରୁ କହିବା କଥା ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମ ଟିକେ ଟିକେ ଓଡ଼ିଆ କହିକି କହନ୍ତୁ। ମୁଁ ତ ବହୁତ ଆରାମରେ କହିଛି। କଣ କହିଲ?
ନାଇଁ ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମ, ଛୁଆ କଥା ହେଲା।
ମୁଁ ଆରାମରେ ଓଡ଼ିଆ କହିଥାନ୍ତି। ଏବେ ବୁଝି ହଉଛି ନା ବୁଝି ହଉନି?
ବୁଝି
ଆଜି
ହଉଛି,
ଯାହା
ଆପଣ
କହିଲି
ଆପଣ
ଓଡିଆ
ସିମ୍ପଲ ରେ ହିଁ
ଏଥିକ୍ସ।
ବୁଝାଉଛନ୍ତି, ଭଲ ଲାଗୁଛି। ବାକି ଟିକେ ଓଡିଆ କହିଲେ ଆମ ପାଇଁ ଆଉ ଟିକେ ସୁବିଧା ହୁଏ।
ଆଚ୍ଛା, ତାହେଲେ ବ୍ଲକ୍ 4 ଟା ଆମେ ଓଡ଼ିଆ ଦେଇକି କହିବା ବେଶୀ।
ଆଜ୍ଞା ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମ, ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ
ଗୋଟେ
ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମ।
ଏଥିକ୍ସ ମାନେ କଣ ଆମେ ବୁଝିଲେ, ମିଡିଆ ଏଥିକ୍ସ ଆମେ, ତାପରେ ଆସିଲେ ମେଟା ଏଥିକ୍ସ କୁ, ତାପରେ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଆମେ ଆସିକି କହିଲେ କଣ applied ethics कथा कहले आमे block 1 रे traditional ethics कथा पढ़ीचे entire block 1 is devoted for traditional ethics जो तेरे के आमे different ethical theories जेमति पढ़िले hedonism पढ़िले utilitarianism पढ़िले intuitionism पढ़िले ओडा सब all about the traditional or classical ethics तापर ब्लॉक 2 रे हमें कौन पढ़ले ब्लॉक 2 रे हमें पढ़िले मेटा एथिक्स कौन से कुछ मेटा एथिक्स कुछ एथिक्स रे हमें जो टर्म गुडा का यूज करूचे केमती गुड राइट ऑट नॉट शुड नॉट तार फिलोसॉफिकल एनालिसिस करूचे लिंग्विस्टिक एनालिसिस करूचे किए ना मेटा एथिक्स से कांसेप्ट गुडा को नहीं आछी तार फिलोसॉफिकल एनालिसिस करूचे हला किए करूचे ना मेटा एथिक्स तेणु एंटायर ब्लॉक 2 जो तेरे कॉग्निटिविज्म पढ़िले नॉन कॉग्निटिविज्म पढ़िले कॉग्निटिविज्म कौन कहूची कॉग्निटिविज्म कहूची एथिकल जजमेंट्स एथिकल स्टेटमेंट्स they can be either true or false just like any other cognitive statement cognitive statement माने केमती राम is mortal grass is green एटा हला गोटे cognitive statement एटा true हबो जदि मु कहबी man is four legged animal एटा कोन हबो false हबो से एथिकल जजमेंट जोटा कि हमें गुड राइट ऑट एगुडा सब व्यवहार करूचे सेगुडा को कोन हबो जेमती एई स्टेटमेंट गुडा का ट्रू की फॉल्स होची सेई स्टेटमेंट गुडा का ट्रू की फॉल्स हबो एटा हला कॉग्निटिविज्म वाला कहले नॉन कॉग्निटिविज्म रे काले मु कोन ए जे एआर टा पढ़ीथिल ना नहीं इमोटिविज्म पढ़ीथिले से कोन कहूची से कहूची सेगुडा का ट्रू की फॉल्स हेई परिबो नाही सपोज मु गोटे स्टेटमेंट कहली मे गॉड ब्लेस यू सपोज हां मु गोटे स्टेटमेंट कहली मे गॉड ब्लेस यू मे गॉड ब्लेस यू टाकू तमे ट्रू की फॉल्स कहि परिबा नाही सेमति से कहूची as we cannot say may God bless you as either true or false similarly we cannot say ethical statements like God exists as either true or false काहे कि कहि परिबा नाही माने से कहूची इमोटिविज्म कथा ए जे आर कहला बेलको से कहूची कोन ना गोटे प्रिंसिपल ऑफ वेरीफाइबिलिटी से कहूची जेते आमे जेते स्टेटमेंट करूचे से दी प्रकार रा हे परिबो कोन हबो आइदर से हबो एनालिटिक न हले से हबो सिंथेटिक बुझियला काली कहितली एनालिटिक कोन ना बैचलर्स आर अनमैरिड मेल्स एगुडा कहला एनालिटिक माने कोन ना जहा सब्जेक्ट प्रेडिकेट से जहा तमरो अछि मीनिंग ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट प्रेडिकेट रा मीनिंग से ताला हमें ता कोन कहले एगुडा का एनालिटिक एगुडा सब बैचलर्स फॉल्स हबो की हबनी सब ट्रू हबो बैचलर्स आर अनमैरिड मेल डेफिनेशन ऑल मेन आर रैशनल एनिमल केबे फॉल्स हबनी सब ट्रू सो दिस प्रपोजिशंस दिस स्टेटमेंट्स आर ट्रू प्रपोजिशंस सिंथेटिक कथा कहला बेलको आमे कोन कहू सेटा ट्रू हबो कि फॉल्स हबो जेमति कहले ग्रास इज ग्रीन ट्रू जेमति कहले मेन आर फोर लेगेड एनिमल फॉल्स तने से हबो ट्रू कि फॉल्स हबो तापर पचरा जाउची एथिसिस्ट मानको तमरो जो स्टेटमेंट करूछ गॉड एक्जिस्ट गॉड इज बेनिवोलेंट एगुडा को एनालिटिक हबो ना सिंथेटिक हबो से कहउचंदी सेगुडा को एनालिटिक हेले एनालिटिक तो किछ अधिका कथा कहउनी इट इज नॉट गिविंग एनी न्यू इंफॉर्मेशन they want to say that their statements are giving new informations तेणु करी से माने कहले हमर स्टेटमेंट गुडा का ना एनालिटिक ना सिंथेटिक से गुडा का एम्पिरिकली वेरीफाइबल हे परबो नाही किंतु सब बेले से गुडा सॉरी से गुडा का सिंथेटिक माने सब्जेक्ट प्रेडिकेट अलग आथिबे गॉड एक्जिस्ट एटी सब्जेक्ट प्रेडिकेट अलग ना नहीं अलग अछि तेणु से कहूची से गुडा का ना से गुडा का सिंथेटिक हबो नाही किंतु सेडा सब बेले ट्रू हबो ये केमते अवस्था सेति पे लॉजिकल पॉजिटिविस्ट कोन कहिले जे एगुडा का यूजलेस मीनिंगलेस आउ एगुडा नॉनसेंसिकल एजेआर कहिले एजेआर सेड दैट दो दिस प्रपोजिशंस जेआर कोन कहिले दो दिस प्रपोजिशंस दे हैव नो कॉग्निटिव मीनिंग एई प्रपोजिशंस गुडा कर अरे ममता सुना जाउची तो
आज्ञा मैडम सुना जाउची
एई प्रपोजिशंस गुडा कर जदि बा गोटे कॉग्निटिव मीनिंग नाही किंतु तार गोटे कोन होची ना तार गोटे इमोटिव मीनिंग अच्छी। इमोटिव मीनिंग कौन ना इट अराउज व्हेन आई से दैट व्हेन आई अटर दिस स्टेटमेंट्स मु जेतेबेले गोटे कहूची गॉड एग्जिस्ट बोली कहूची इट
ଆଜ୍ଞା
एक्सप्रेसेस माय इमोशन मु जेतेबेले कहूची भगवान बहुत दयालु गोटे स्टेटमेंट कर
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ता माने मु
ଆଜ୍ଞା
मोर इमोशन टाको से एक्सप्रेस करची ता
ଆଜ୍ଞା
सांगरे से कोन करूची अन्य मानकटू एक्सपेक्ट करूची जे सेही इमोशन आसु जेतेबेले मु कहूची जनको साहाଯ୍ୟ କରିବା ଭଲ ତ ମାନେ ସେଟା ମୋର ମାଇंड रे जहाँ अच्छी सेटा कहूची ता माने
ଆଜ୍ଞା
अन्य माननको भी कहूची तमे भी समस्त को दान कर तमे भी अन्य मानक पई दयाशील हुओ तेणु से कहूची कौन ना इमोटिव स्टेटमेंट कौन कहूची जदि बा एथिकल स्टेटमेंट गुड़ाकर कॉग्निटिव मीनिंग नाही किंतु तार इमोटिव मीनिंग अच्छी इमोटिव मीनिंग माने कौन इट एक्सप्रेसेस माय इमोशन it expresses the emotion of the speaker as well as it expects the same emotion with the hearer एटा सब गला कोथरे काली आमे जो डिस्कशन करते आज
ଆଜ୍ଞା
डिस्कशन कले सेटा हला अप्लाइड एथिक्स हला
ଆଜ୍ଞା
अप्लाइड एथिक्स अप्लाइड एथिक्स कोन होची ना सेही तारी एक्सटेंशन ट्रेडिशनल एथिक्स रो कारण आमे रियल लाइफ सिचुएशन रे केते गुडे इश्यूज देखुचे जो गुडा कि आमे फिजिकली तार सॉल्यूशन बाहर कर परिबानी सोशियली तार सॉल्यूशन बाहर कर परिबा नहीं लीगली तार सॉल्यूशन बाहर कर परिबा नहीं ताको केमती करबा ना ताको आमे ताको एथिकली वी हैव टू हैंडल दिस इश्यूज तेणु सेति पई से कहूची अप्लाइड एथिक्स कौन करे डायरेक्टली अप्लाई करे एथिकल रूल्स टू रियल लाइफ सिचुएशंस प्रकृत
ଆଜ୍ଞା
कार्य क्षेत्र में से कौन करे से एथिकल रूल गुड़ा को अप्लाई करे जमते तुम कहल जे जड़े गोटे भल डॉक्टर हो वन
ଆଜ୍ଞା
नीड्स टू बी गुड डॉक्टर केमती हम ना से 2 मिनिट ऑपरेशन कर दउथे से गुड डॉक्टर हो जिवो नो वन नेवर 2 मिनिट ऑपरेशन कर दउथो तमरो किडनी चोरी कर नै जो तमे तो भल डॉक्टर कहबो कि
ନାଇଁ
we need so a skilled doctor may not be a good doctor so what the society needs good doctor सेमती एनवायरमेंटल एथिक्स कथा जेतबे कहबा we are undergoing we are suffering because of environmental issues बहुत गरम होची कष्ट होची ग्लोबल टेम्परेचर बढ़ी गले कष्ट होची गछ वृक्ष किछि नाही हमको खाइबार भी कमी जाउची तकर एई सब जेतबेले प्रॉब्लम आसी जिवो से कहूची ताको हाउ टू हैंडल दिस प्रॉब्लम्स now we have to handle these problems and by the application of the ethics कौन करिवो ना गोटे लार्जर विजन सृष्टि करिवो केमती सृष्टि करिवो ना एथिक्स कहबो अरे ए जो एनवायरनमेंट खाली कोन मनुष्य अछि ना नाही मनुष्य संगे पशु अछि पशुर गोटे अधिकार अछि कि बंचिबा को ना नाही ना अछि सेमती गोटे
ଆଜ୍ଞା
गछर भी अधिकार अछि बंचिया पई तेनु एठी समस्त बंचिबे समस्त हेले आमे कोन करबा इकोसेंट्रिज्म को अडॉप्ट करबा आहुरी आमे अधिका हिजबा कहबा आर्थ एथिक्स आर्थ रो भी गोटे जीवन अछि जदि तार
ଆଜ୍ଞା
केयर न जिवो से अकाल मृत्युवरण करिवो तेणु आर्थ एज ए होल तेणु सब अच्छी तेणु मनीष कौन होची जेमती गछटे अच्छी जेमती पशुटे अच्छी मनीष भी सेमती गोटे प्लेन मेंबर होती अच्छी मनीषर किंतु ड्यूटी होची जेहेतु सी ता पाखरे बुद्धि अच्छी तेणु तार ड्यूटी होची कौन सी गोटे स्टुआर्डशिप सी गोटे लीड रोल नब जो थे कि इंटीग्रिटी ब्यूटी ऑफ द नेचर मेंटेन होगी रहिबो एटा हला कौन तमरा हला एनवायरमेंटल एथिक्स सेमती से
ଆଜ୍ଞା
मीडिया एथिक्स रे हमर मीडिया रो प्रथम काम कौन मीडिया कौन करिवो ना गोटे जो सोर्स रू गोटे इनफॉरमेशन आनिबो गोटे जगह रू ताको समस्त को पहुंचेबो एटा होची मीडिया रो काम मीडिया टा
ଆଜ୍ଞା
कौन हबो प्रिंट मीडिया हबो ना इलेक्ट्रॉनिक
ଯାହା
मीडिया
ହବ
हबो
ନହେଲେ ଆଜ୍ଞା
हाँ प्रिंट मीडिया रे हम कौन कुछ खबर कागज
ଦେଖିବାନି
magazines
ଦେଖିକି
कि
ପଢୁଛେ
तमर एडवर्टाइजमेंट एगुडा कहला प्रिंट मीडिया सेमती
ଆଜ୍ଞା
इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया कौन है रेडियो है इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया टीवी है इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया किंतु आम देखुचे इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया जल्दी लोकों पाखे पहुंची जीव दैन द प्रिंट मीडिया किंतु से
Yes.
प्रिंट मीडिया हो कि इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया हो से माने किछि एथिक्स फॉलो करिवे किछि नियम चलिबे कौन से नियम ना मन इच्छा न्यूज देबे नाही जो न्यूजटा देइचंदी सेटा सठिक सत्तरे सेमतिया घटना घटिची सेटा से माने चेक करिवे ता गोटे कलरफुल वे रे देबेनी तेणु से से कौन हम इम्पार्शियल हम जे न्यूज दौची जे न्यूज कलेक्ट कर जो जर्नालीस्ट ସେ କ'ଣ କରିବ ନା ଇମ୍ପାର୍ସିଆଲ ହବ। ସେ କ'ଣ କରିବ ପୁଣି ଆକୁରେଟ ଜିନିଷ ସତ୍ୟ ଘଟଣାଟାକୁ ସେ ଦବ, କଲରଫୁଲ କରିବନି। ସେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ନ୍ୟୁଜଟା ଦଉଛି ସେ ବାୟସନେସ୍ ରହିବ ନାହିଁ, ତାର ରିଲିଜିୟସ୍ ବାୟସନେସ୍ ରହିବନି, କମ୍ୟୁନିଟି ବାୟସନେସ୍ ରହିବନି। ସେ ଇମ୍ପାର୍ସିଆଲ ହବ, ଆକୁରେଟ ନ୍ୟୁଜ ଦବ, ସତ ଯୋଉଟା ସେଟାକୁ ଦବ। ଏ ସବୁ ଜିନିଷକୁ ଆମେ ନେଇକି ଆମେ କ'ଣ କରୁଛେ ନା ଗୋଟେ ନ୍ୟୁଜ ଆଇଟମ ଆମେ କ'ଣ କରୁଛେ ପ୍ରେସ୍ କରୁଛେ। ଓକେ,
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଗୋଟେ ମିନିଟ୍ ରହ।
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ସୋ ୟୁ ସି, ତେଣୁକରି ସେଇ ଯୋଉ ନ୍ୟୁଜରେ ଆମେ କ'ଣ କରୁଛେ, ସେ ନ୍ୟୁଜଟା ଯେତେବେଳେ when we disseminating that information, ଆରେ ମୁଁ ଶୁଣା ଯାଉଛି ଟି?
ଆଜ୍ଞା ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ଶୁଣାଯାଉଛି।
ସେଇ ନ୍ୟୁଜଟା ଯେତେବେଳେ ଯାଇ ଲୋକଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ପହଞ୍ଚିବ, ପିପୁଲ ୱିଲ୍ ଗେଟ୍ ଦ ଆକୁରେଟ ନ୍ୟୁଜ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଭ୍ୟୁଜ। ସେ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
କହୁଛି ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ନ୍ୟୁଜ ଯେତେବେଳେ କରିବ ସେତେବେଳେ ଆମକୁ ଗୋଟେ ଗାଇଡ ଲାଇନ୍ସ ଆମକୁ ଫଲୋ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ। କ'ଣ ଗାଇଡ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଲାଇନ୍ସ? ନା ଗାଇଡ ଲାଇନ୍ସ ହେଲା କ'ଣ ନା କେତେ ଗୁଡ଼ିଏ ଜାଗାରେ ଆମକୁ ସତ୍ୟ ଘଟଣାଟାକୁ ବି ସପ୍ରେସ୍ କରିବାକୁ ପଡ଼ିବ। କେମିତି ନା ଧର ଯୁଦ୍ଧ ହଉଛି, ଯୁଦ୍ଧ ହେଲା
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ବେଳକୁ ଧର ଗୋଟେ ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ଯୁଦ୍ଧ ହଉଛି, ସିଏ ବିରୋଧୀ ପାର୍ଟି ଯେ ସେ କ'ଣ କରୁଛି ଭିତରକୁ ପଶି ଆସିছে, ଆମ ଅଞ୍ଚଳ ଭିତରକୁ ପଶି ଆସେ। ସେଟା ଯଦି ତ ନ୍ୟୁଜରେ କହିଦବା ଲୋକ ପାନିକ ହେଇଯିବେ। ତେଣୁ ସେଠି
ଆଜ୍ଞା
କ'ଣ କରାଯିବ ନା ନ୍ୟୁଜଟାକୁ ସପ୍ରେସ୍ କରାଯିବ। ଦିସ୍ ଇଜ ଦ ଡିରେକ୍ସନ। ତେଣୁ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ସେଠି ସତ୍ୟ ଘଟଣା ଗୋଟେ କମ୍ୟୁନାଲ ରାଇଟ୍ ହେଇକି ବହୁତ ଲୋକ ମରିଗଲେ, ସେଠି କ'ଣ ସେମିତି କୁହାଯିବ? ହବ ଯେ ନାଇଁ ଅଳ୍ପ ଲୋକ ମରିଗଲେ, ଏମିତି
ଆଜ୍ଞା
କରିକି ଗୋଟେ ଗାଇଡଲାଇନ୍ସ ହେଇଛି। କିନ୍ତୁ ମିଡିଆ ଇଥିକ୍ସରେ ସବୁଠୁ ଗୋଟେ ଡିବେଟେବୁଲ ଟପିକ କ'ଣ ନା ସେ ଡିବେଟେବୁଲ ଟପିକଟା ହଉଛି ପ୍ରାଇଭେଟ ଲାଇଫ ଆମର ପବ୍ଲିକ ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ଆଉ ପ୍ରାଇଭେଟ ଲାଇଫ। ତା ଭିତରେ ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ ଡିବେଟ ସବୁବେଳେ ଦେଖୁଛେ। କାହିଁକି ନା ଗୋଟେ ହିରୋ ହଉ କି ଗୋଟେ ହିରୋଇନ ହଉ କି ଜଣେ ବହୁତ ବଡ ଲୋକ ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ, ଆମେ ସମସ୍ତେ କମନ ମ୍ୟାନର ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ କ'ଣ ତାର ସବୁ ବିଷୟରେ ଜାଣିବା।
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ସେ କ'ଣ କରୁଛି ଆମେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଜାଣିବା। ତେଣୁକରି ସେ କହୁଛି କିଛି ଲୋକ ତାଙ୍କର କିଛି ନ୍ୟୁଜ ଚ୍ୟାନେଲ, କିଛି ରିପୋର୍ଟର, କିଛି ଜର୍ଣ୍ଣାଲିଷ୍ଟ, ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ପାପରାଜି ବୋଲି କୁହାଯାଏ। ସେମାନେ କ'ଣ କରନ୍ତି, ସେ ପବ୍ଲିକ ଫିଗର ପଛରେ ଦିନ ରାତି ତାଙ୍କର କ୍ୟାମେରା ଧରି ଚାଲିଥିବେ। ଯେମିତି କୋଉଠୁ କ'ଣ କରି କ୍ୟାପଚର କରିଦେଲେ ତାଙ୍କର ଟିଆରପି ଟା ବଢିଯିବ ସେଇ ନ୍ୟୁଜ ଚ୍ୟାନେଲ।
ଆଜ୍ଞା
କିନ୍ତୁ ସେ କହୁଛି ଏଇଟା କ'ଣ ଏଥିକାଲ କି? କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ଆସୁଛି, ଏଇଟା ଏଥିକାଲ କି? କାରଣ ସେଇ ଯୋଉ ପବ୍ଲିକ ଫିଗର ତାର ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରାଇଭେଟ ଲାଇଫ ବି ଅଛି। ତାର we have to give utmost respect to the privacy of that public figure। ତାକୁ ପଚରା ଯିବ, ଆଜ୍ଞା ଆମେ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ପ୍ରାଇଭେଟ ଲାଇଫକୁ କ୍ୟାପଚର କରିବୁ, କଭର କରିବୁ। ଇଫ୍ the person says yes you cover, then you will cover and then it will be in the news। କିନ୍ତୁ otherwise without the knowledge of that person we should not do this। ଏଇଟା ହଉଛି ଗୋଟେ କଥା। କିନ୍ତୁ ୟୁଜୁଆଲି ଆମର ଯୋଉମାନେ ରିପୋର୍ଟର, ଜର୍ଣ୍ଣାଲିଷ୍ଟ, ଯୋଉମାନେ ନ୍ୟୁଜ ଚ୍ୟାନେଲ, ସେମାନେ କ'ଣ କହନ୍ତି? ଦେ ଆର୍ଗ୍ୟୁ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଇଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଇନ୍ ଦ ଲାର୍ଜର ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ଅଫ ଦ କମ୍ୟୁନିଟି। କିନ୍ତୁ ତା ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଆମେ ଭୁଲି ଯିବାନି ଯେ we must have to respect for the privacy of the public figure। ତେଣୁ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଏତିକ ହେଲା ଏଣ୍ଟାୟାର ଜିନିଷ ପଢେଇଲି, ବୁଝିପାରିଲ?
ଆଜ୍ଞା ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ବ୍ରିଫଲି ଡିସକସ କରିଦେଲେ।
ହଁ ଠିକ ଅଛି, ଠିକ ଅଛି। ଆଉ ଯଦି କିଛି ଇସ୍ୟୁ ରହିବ ମତେ ପଚାରିବ ହେଲା।
ଠିକ
ଓକେ
ଅଛି ମ୍ୟାଡାମ, ନେକ୍ସଟ କ୍ଲାସରେ
ଓକେ।
ନିହାତି ମତେ। ଆଜ୍ଞା
ହଁ
ମ୍ୟାଡାମ
ହଁ,
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ମ୍ୟାଡାମ।
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ। ସୋ କଲ୍ ଇଟ୍ ଟୁଡେ।
ଆଜ୍ଞା ଆଜ୍ଞା।